First of all, I'm going to give you the steps for long division, polynomial long division. All right, and it's basically 5 easy steps. Okay, the first step is that you should rewrite the division in long division format. Okay. The second step is I want you to look at the first terms of each polynomial, and I want you to decide what to multiply by. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll show you in just a second. The third step is once you figure out what to multiply by, you actually distribute. And when you distribute, you're going to get a multiplication, a product there. And then you're going to, step 4, subtract that product. And then you're going to get what's left over, and then you should repeat the process if necessary. When I say repeat, I'm repeating steps 2 through 4 if necessary. Okay? So, rewrite, look at the first terms, multiply, distribute, subtract, repeat if necessary. Let's go back. Let's look at an old problem here. Let's say we have the example of 156 divided by 6. All right, this 6, the one we're dividing by, is called the divisor. Okay? The divisor is the number that you're dividing by. In this case, we're going to have polynomials as our divisor. The answer that you get is called the quotient. And sometimes the quotient will have a remainder. Okay? So the quotient is the answer that you get out. All right, let's follow these steps that we wrote up at the top for this simple problem that we have. And step 1 says to rewrite the problem in long division format. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. And so 156 goes inside of the house, and we're dividing by a divisor of 6. Okay. Now step 2 says look at the first terms. Well, they're both single terms, but the idea is still the same. 6 will not go into 1, but 6 will go into 15. And when we were learning long division, that's the first part that we looked at. We looked at going step by step, the first terms, the first parts. So 6 does go into 15. It goes into 15 2 times. Okay. Step 3 says to distribute. Well, distribute, we chose 2, so we have to multiply 2. 2 times 6. We're doing a multiplication there. That is what distribution property says. 2 times 6 is 12. Step 4 says to subtract. So the key component here is that we are subtracting. And I'm going to change colors there just to show you that we are subtracting. And then I'm going to actually do the subtraction and get 3. And then we're going to bring down the 6. Maybe a step that I forgot to add in there is to subtract and bring down. Okay. Then we repeat the process again. 6 does not go into 3, but 6 does go into 36. 6 times. Do the multiplication, which will be our distribution in a little bit. 6 times 6, which is 36. It is a subtraction problem. And 36 minus 36 gives us 0. And we're done because we can't go anymore. We have a remainder of 0. In this polynomial example, we have x squared plus 16x plus 60 divided by x plus 10. This time, our divisor is a binomial, the binomial x plus 10. Okay, so we're taking a trinomial and we're dividing it by a binomial. Step 1. Step 1 says to rewrite this into long division format. So it would be x squared plus 16x plus 60. That's going to be inside the house, and we are dividing by an x plus 10 on the outside. Okay, step 2. Probably the most crucial step is to look at the first terms. The first terms here, the first term of the binomial is x. The first term of the trinomial is x squared. You got to decide what to multiply by. Now the question I always ask is how can you make the x an x squared? Or basically the better question would be what would you multiply by to what would you multiply the x by to get an x squared? Okay, so the answer would be I would multiply by another x because x times x equals x squared. That's the key component that you got to understand with this long division stuff. Okay. Step 3 says once you figure out what to multiply by, you actually do the distribution. You distribute x times x and x times 10, and you write it accordingly. X times x is x squared. Notice that I'm putting it under its like term. And x times 10 is 10x. Again, under its like term. The last part is crucial. This next part is the one that's most missed. What you're actually doing is you are actually subtracting this whole binomial. We're subtracting this whole deal, the whole line. Okay, notice I changed colors there to show you that. We understand that when we are subtracting, what we're actually doing is we are distributing the negative. Okay, so actually, when we subtract x squared plus 10, we actually are adding a negative x squared and a negative 10. Okay, hopefully you got that step there. So yes, we distributed, we got x squared plus 10x, but we are subtracting that binomial, so we have to distribute a negative to see what we have left over in our division. X squared minus x squared plus a negative x squared goes away, 0. 16 plus negative 10 gives me a 6x. Bring down the 60. Just as we did before. Okay. Repeat the process. We need to repeat the process. At least try. Okay. Look at the first terms. The first term here is the x. The first term here is the 6x. Ask the question, how can you make an x a 6x? Or better question would be, what would you multiply x by to get 6x? And the answer would be to multiply by a 6. Okay. So multiply by a 6 to give me 6x. Distribute. 6 times x is 6x. Those are like terms underneath each other. And distribute 6 times 10 gives me 60. Okay, that looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Remember that we want to go through the whole process, and this is a subtraction. So we're subtracting what we distributed there. Okay, and when we subtract, we're actually distributing the negative. Or you could say 6x minus 6x is 0, and 60 minus 60 is 0. So we get a remainder of 0. So here's our answer at the top. When we take x squared plus 16x plus 60 and divide it by x plus 10, we get a quotient of x plus 6. Okay? How do you know if you got this right? A great way to see if you got this right is to check it. If we took the number 156 and divided it by 6, a way we could check ourselves would be to take 6 and multiply times 26. And when you do that, you will get 156. It does check out. So to check ourselves over here, we're just going to take the two items that we found and multiply them out, fold them out, and see if we get the original trinomial. So we get x plus 10 is the divisor, and we're going to get the quotient of x plus 6, and we're going to multiply those out and see if we get the same thing. So we're going to do our full method here. First, which would be x times x gives me x squared. Outer, x times 6, which is 6x. Inner, 10 times x, which is 10x. And last, which is 10 times 6, which is 60. Okay, put it all together, you get x squared plus 16x plus 60. And it does check out. That is what we started with. So, we got the correct answer. The answer, the quotient, is x plus 6. Very good. All right, a couple more problems at the bottom. We'll work them out here for you. Step 1, we're going to take this one, we're going to rewrite it into long division format. So 2x squared minus 11x plus 15 goes in the house, and x minus 3 is the divisor. It goes outside of the house. Okay, step 2, look at the first terms. How can I make an x a 2x squared? I have to multiply by 2x this time. Okay, 2x times x is going to give me 2x squared. Remember, you need to distribute to both terms in this binomial here. Okay, 2x times x is 2x squared, as I said before. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Okay, remember that we are subtracting here. Okay, well, what does that mean? That means that we need to distribute this negative. So I'm going to turn this into a positive, this into a negative, and this into a positive. Okay, that's a tricky step that a lot of people miss. We're going to combine our like terms. 2x squared plus negative 2x squared is 0. Negative 11x plus 6x gives me a negative 5x. Okay, and then we bring down the 15. Repeat the process. Look at the first term. The first term is x. The first term is negative 5x. How can you make x a negative 5x? What can you multiply it by? You can multiply it by a negative 5. Okay. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. And remember that we are subtracting this term as we divide. So this is a subtraction here, okay, which we're going to distribute the negative. So we get a sum now of negative 5x plus 5x, which goes away, and 15 plus negative 15, which is 0. So x minus 3, when you divide it out, you get 2x minus 5. You want to do a quick check. X minus 3, which is the divisor, times the answer, or the quotient, 2x minus 5. Full it out. X times 2x is 2x squared. That's the first. The outer is x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Inner, negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And last is negative 3 times negative 5, which is 15. Okay, like terms there. 2x squared minus 11x plus 15. That's exactly what we started with. Let's rewrite it. Step 1 is rewrite it in a long division format. Negative 12x squared plus 14x plus 6. Okay, our divisor is negative 4x plus 6. Step 2, look at the first terms. Negative 4x and negative 12x squared. What can I multiply negative 4x by to get negative 12x squared? Well, we got the negative already. Okay, we are going to need another x to make the x squared, and then 4 times 3 is going to give us 12. Check it. Positive times a negative equals the negative. So we're good to go. Distribute is the next step, step 3. 3x times negative 4x is negative 12x squared. 3x times 6 is 18x. Okay. Cool. Now we subtract. We're subtracting this whole deal. And hopefully you see that in my video here by the change of color. We're subtracting the whole deal. And when you subtract, remember subtracting polynomials is distribution of a negative, which changes your signs. Okay, so negative 12x squared plus 12x squared, it goes away, 0. 14x plus negative 18x is negative 4x. Bring down your 6. Repeat the process. You can already see that this is going to go into this one time. Okay, how can you make a negative 4x a negative 4x? Well, it already is. So to keep it the same, you just have to say I'll multiply it by 1. Distribute the 1. 1 times negative 4x is negative 4x. 1 times 6 is 6. Okay. Remember that we are subtracting. Subtraction is just the distribution of a negative. 4x plus negative 4x, plus 4x is 0, and 6 plus negative 6 is 0. So we get an answer of 3x plus 1, and there's our divisor. Okay, let's just do a quick check. Okay, take our divisor, negative 4x plus 6, multiply it by the quotient, 3x plus 1. Let's do the full method and see if we get the correct answer. First will be negative 4x times 3x, which will be negative 12x squared. Looking good so far. Outer, negative 4x times 1, which is negative 4x. Okay, inner, 6 times 3x, which is 18x. And 6 times 1, which is the last terms. Like terms here. Final answer, negative 12x squared plus 14x plus 6. And if we look here and then look at the original problem, they're exactly the same. So it does check out, and it does make me happy. Okay. So 3 good examples there, all based on old long division that we've known for quite some time. Okay, you got your steps written at the top. All right, the first part of this video I'm going to end with just showing you the next two. I have you try, so you're going to try this one. 4x squared plus 16x plus 16 divided by 2x plus 4. Okay, you try that one. And you also try this one, negative 15x squared plus 43x minus 8 divided by 3x minus 8. So